Good crypto morning, ladies and gentlemen. Gentlemen and ladies, let's go ahead and get
How can
started
Zapier
this
transform
morning.
your business?
So we got a couple minutes. We'll give everyone time to get on here, but it's going to be an incredible morning. Looks like the market might be turning back up. This is going to be good. Many of us prefer to see green days, green candle, upward price movement, but in crypto, it's volatile. That's part of why there's so much opportunity still here in crypto. We are still so early. I'm going to be talking about when I think will be the next big pump for crypto. So you're not going to want to miss that. I think some people, particularly if you're new to crypto, I think a lot of people are unaware of. They know the halvening takes place, but they're unaware of when we should see new all-time highs. And I'm going to be talking about that. We're going to look at a little bit of data on previous all-time highs, just so that as many of us can basically make our best guess or our best projection or develop the best trading plan or investing plan for ourselves as we move into hopefully much higher price levels than where we're at right now with cryptocurrency. And by the way, there are some people who think the bull market is going to be canceled. I think they're crazy, and I'll explain why in this video. But I've absolutely seen people say, hey, this bull market's going to be this market after the halving is going to be different, and this time it's quote unquote canceled. That's just nonsense to me. And of course, I'll go into more details, but I just want to say thank you so much for being here, ladies and gentlemen. And if you love to hear unbiased, well, I attempt to be unbiased. I'm biased, but if you want to hear from someone who attempts to be objective, who tries to be fair and tries to talk about both sides of the market, the ups, the downs, if you want to hear from someone who likes to talk about what's potentially good with various projects, but what's also maybe something we should be concerned with the project or with the cryptocurrency, yet I'm still willing to invest. I can look at the good, the bad, and still make a decision to go ahead and get started investing. And if you can appreciate that kind of commentary, do me a favor and smash that like button. All right, there's 4 of you here. Do me a favor, hit that like button. Let's get started. Okay, I'm going to start off with a little bit of simple news, and then we're not going to start out looking at the market right now, only because we're going to be talking a bit more about the market a little bit later in the stream this morning. I'm going to start out with a couple of simple stories, and then we're going to go more into some of the pricing stuff related to cryptocurrency, and then we're going to talk about specifically my projections on when I believe crypto is going to pump and what it's going to take. Now, a lot of people think the halvening itself causes a pump, but I'm going to tell you that's not exactly true. There have been times that we've had significant dips after the halvening. So we'll talk about, we'll sort of opine, if you will, about why that may have happened in the past. All right, so let's go ahead and start off with something a little bit interesting, and that's the Apple co-founder Steve Wozniak, Woz as they call him. He wins a major verdict against YouTube in a Bitcoin scam lawsuit. Now, this is very interesting. And if you don't know this, there's a lot of YouTube videos that have been out there that have been sort of, I guess, what's the word I'm looking for? They've been faked, meaning they're quote unquote sort of AI fakes, if you will, or so in some cases they're not. They're nothing more than a voiceover, but of, say, the Steve Wozniak. They've done it with Elon Musk, Bill Gates. It's like they're seeing one of their speeches, but there's a voiceover that's very similar to their voice, and it's saying things like, send us Bitcoin and we'll send you some Bitcoin, get some free Bitcoin, and we believe Bitcoin's the future. And there's this whole speech, but the idea behind the video is to get unsuspecting people to send crypto to a wallet. And of course, the video is not real. It's been doctored, the whole 9 yards. And some of these videos nowadays are actually quite good. Well, obviously this is a problem, and this is on YouTube. And this Steve Wozniak and as well as Bill Gates and several more, Elon Musk, there's a whole group of them right here, including Bill Gates, Elon Musk, Michael Dell, have all filed a lawsuit against YouTube and its parent company Google in 2020 after doctored videos promoting a fake scam went viral on YouTube. Now, this is not so cut and dry. These guys are basically saying, hey, YouTube is responsible for this, and I would agree with that at the surface level. But what concerns me, and I believe these individuals have a real reason to be concerned, because let's face it, None of us want our likeness to be used in a scam. That doesn't look good for Bill Gates, because there are some people who are going to get scammed by a fake video and not realize that it's not Bill Gates behind it. They're going to think they got scammed by Bill Gates, right? Or they're going to think they got scammed by Elon Musk. Because let's just face it, not everyone is fully aware of what they're looking at, what they're doing, and where they're sending money. Obviously, no one should send cryptocurrency to a random address, obviously. But people do it all the time. If it didn't work, these videos wouldn't exist. But here's the challenge with this. My concern is, okay, right now, there's something called Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act. This basically says that social media companies cannot be held liable for videos and content on their services. The challenge with this Section 230, what's interesting about that is all these social media platforms censor like crazy. I mean, my videos have gotten censored. I've gotten strikes with no explanation, no warning why. It's craziness has happened. Any of you that's been on YouTube for any length of time in crypto has probably happened to you as well. So they're censorship crazy on these social media platforms. The irony of that is they don't legally, they don't have any liability on what happens with the content on their platforms. So then that brings about, why do they work so hard for censorship? They would tell you they work really hard for censorship to protect the audience, to protect their viewers, etc. So if that's the case, then I can get it. Bill Gates, Elon Musk, Michael Dell, these guys want to file lawsuits. I could be like, hey, if you're going to protect the viewers, you're not protecting the viewers. Something should happen. Definitely should be fined. Something should happen. The challenge is, if we totally do away with this act, if it's like, okay, they do have some liability, I'm afraid these media companies' censorship will be out of hand. I'm actually having an issue on Facebook right now where with another business where I'm trying to run ads on Facebook. My Facebook account is permanently banned, and I have an insider at Facebook, and we cannot figure out why. Cannot figure out how to get it back, and nobody's giving us info. So I'm concerned when I see this. I do hate these videos that exist out there. YouTube should do something about them. But it does make me get a little bit nervous, like, okay, so are they going to, how censorship heavy are they going to get on the platform ultimately? At the end of the day, I wish people were just more aware. I wish there was a lot more awareness, public awareness, and people would stop falling for some of this stuff. But I get it. I don't blame Steve Wozniak in this case, because it's big for him. For me, it's a principled approach to less censorship, because unfortunately good stuff gets censored with the bad stuff. So for me, it's a little bit of a censorship argument. For Steve Wozniak, it's more of a personal reputation argument. I get that. And if I was in his shoes, I'd probably be doing the same thing he's doing. So that makes a lot of sense. Good morning, Mtron. Yes, he says smash the like button. Crypto Kobe, what's up? Let's go. Man, I say LFG all the time, and people have no idea where that comes from. I'm like, man, it's crypto, man. It's crypto. Smash the like. Absolutely. Appreciate it, Crypto Kobe. Appreciate it, Mtron. All right. Next up, this is going to be, I almost didn't show this news story coming up because I do honestly a tiny bit question the 100% legitimacy of it. But then I thought, you know what? I'm shocked he went on record saying this, so I'm going to take him at face value. I like seeing this. Now, if you know me, then you know I don't care for Coinbase. And the reason I don't care for Coinbase is because back in, I think it was 2018 now, they petitioned the federal government and asked the government to create a contract that they could bid on to sell their customer data to the government, as well as their chain analysis methods to the government, so the IRS could use it to track citizens. I didn't like the principle of that. I didn't like it at all. And the fact that they were actually proactive in doing it. It's not like the government put this out there and they're like, hey, we're a company, we got resources, let's bid on it. They actively encouraged the government to create this contract, so therefore they could bid on it. I think that is shady, and I've never liked it, so I've never been a fan of Coinbase since, and I literally haven't used Coinbase since then. Because at some point, ladies and gentlemen, you got to try to have principles, and I try to have principles. As a consumer, I can only vote with my dollars. With that being said, I am all for Coinbase winning this crypto lawsuit. I mean, that's the reality of it. But I saw this. where Brian Armstrong, the CEO of Coinbase, says the most important use case of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. And I thought, okay, let's see what this guy's going to say. And I was shocked. I was absolutely shocked. He came down here and he said, I guess this was in his blog post. He said that the out-of-control money printing has caused an increasing level of economic inequality via inflation and stagnation, creating a need for a new financial system. Excuse me. For over 50 years, a familiar pattern that we've seen throughout history has played out in the U.S. The government spends more than it earns because it can print money for free, and years or decades later, people pay the price through high inflation and stagnation. The average person may not understand the nuances of quantitative easing and federal budget deficits, but they do notice rising prices of gas, food, and education, and they increasingly have a sense that something is amiss in our economy. In fact, 87% of Americans feel the current financial system needs an update. More than half of young Americans use the system just sometimes or not at all. Against the backdrop, Armstrong argues that crypto is necessary to return to sound money, something that he says is world-changing on its own. Ladies and gentlemen, I know some of you out there have no idea what he's talking about, but he's talking about sound money, money that cannot be manipulated by the government. This is also what I believe is the fundamental use case for crypto above all else. And so I was shocked to read this. I'm going to read just this little bit more that he said, and then we'll move on. This brings us to the first and arguably most important use case for cryptocurrency, which is that a cryptocurrency like Bitcoin is a return to sound money. Like gold, Bitcoin is not a national currency backed by a single government. Inflation is a regressive tax in America and abroad, harming the poorest people in society the most. Bitcoin is hard money with a fixed supply and is a solution to this problem. If inventing digital native sound money were the only utility of crypto, it would still be world-changing technology, but that is just the start. Ladies and gentlemen, I was shocked to read this. I think it's absolutely incredible. He goes on at the end to encourage people to visit the website standwithcrypto.org. First time I've seen this website, so I decided to take a look at it. Here's what I would tell you. Again, always be objective. I just told you one of the negative aspects of Coinbase. That is a true story that I shared with you. I've covered it on this channel. I highlighted it. It was a news story that I covered many years ago about Coinbase trying to work with the IRS. However, I appreciate what Brian Armstrong said here. Nothing is all black or all white. Likewise, he points us to this page here, standwithcrypto.org. Supposedly, if you care about crypto, it's time to prove it. And these are the politicians. You can come over here to look at politicians, and you can see the politicians. You'll see there's some Republicans, some Democrats. So if you're in crypto, don't ever drink the Republican Kool-Aid and be all Republican. Don't drink the Democrat Kool-Aid and be all Democrat. Just be objective as you can. Your grandparents voted Republican their whole lives. They voted for Democrats their whole lives. And over several decades, those politicians switched positions so much so that in their lifetime, they voted for policies on the left and the right without knowing it. That is proven over and over again in politics, by the way. So with that being said, it's a very interesting start when you're looking for who to vote for, who to follow, and you care about cryptocurrency. If you don't care about cryptocurrency, that's fine. Not certain what you're doing here. Probably trying to speculate for quick gains. Probably don't want to follow my channel. That's okay. But it's very interesting to see that they're tracking this. Now, here's the negative to this. When they say that these are, basically pro-crypto politicians, are they pro-crypto like decentralized finance for you and me? Or are they pro-crypto like they want to be able to support central bank digital currencies, pro-crypto? Like, that's two extraordinarily different things. And you can be pro-crypto and be for corporatization of cryptocurrency and federalization of cryptocurrency through private blockchains, or you can be pro-decentralized crypto. So this is a start. It's a fair start. But at the same time, and I'm glad it exists, I think people should be aware of this kind of stuff. You should follow organizations like this if you're in the U.S. and you care about crypto. Heck, even if you're not in the U.S., it's worth paying attention to. This is interesting. 18% of Republicans hold crypto. 22% of Democrats hold crypto. Very fascinating. Independents hold 22% of crypto. Very, very fascinating. By the way, if you're curious, I fall in this category over here. Very, very interesting. All right, so let's keep going. Here we go. Now we start getting into some of the price action. Bitcoin levels to watch next as Bitcoin price risk sub 60,000 retest. So here's the challenge. And I had a buddy of mine reached out to me yesterday, and he said, look, here's what's happening with Bitcoin. He said, we shot straight up. And because we shot straight up, we have no real resistance points. And that's true. We might have some resistance here. We'll have to wait and see what happens. We may have some resistance here, but if not, we're all the way back down here to these levels, 52,000. And if we miss that, we got to see if this serves as support or we come all the way down to 30, 40,000. Now, I'm going to tell you something. This is just my speculation. I don't think we come this low, but it's possible. And I'll explain why in a moment. I don't think we're going to go quite that low. I mean, we are down 12% this week, but we are starting to tick back up here just a tiny bit, or at least maybe this isn't fair to call this a tick up. We'll just call this staying flatline. And flatline's okay for now. In fact, going into the Bitcoin halving, we would love to be able to stay flatline if at all possible. As we move into the Bitcoin halving, we want to try to stay at that flatline. And ladies and gentlemen, if you're new in here, do me a favor and hit that like button as we start talking about Bitcoin price and when the price of Bitcoin could pump substantially. So here's the thing. The halving's coming up. If you want to know when the halving's taking place, currently the projections on April 20th. That's not hard and fast per se. That can change between now and then by a day or two, most likely. So just bitcoinblockhalf.com is the website. So we're about 30 days away from the halving. Now, let's look at this article from Maxios before I says it. Buy the rumor, sell the news. Buy the rumor, sell the news. So it is possible we could go down. Now, that being said, last Bitcoin cycle, we did not go down at the time of the halving, or we didn't go down very much. However, I want to take a look at this news story. They kind of summarize some things here, and I want to point this out to you, and then I'll go a little bit deeper. Bitcoin's weird 2024 high. See, the Bitcoin ETFs have sort of jacked up the previous sort of cycles, if you will. The all-time high for Bitcoin price should not have hit yet, according to an eerily consistent time analysis of its 3 prior cycles. This is a strange sentence. Of course, this is because of the Bitcoin ETFs. That's why it hit. That's why it pumped so hard. The big picture. It's an article of faith among certain Bitcoiners that the coin cycle runs in 4-year intervals, triggered primarily by Bitcoin's regularly scheduled halving. This is not, by the way, just an article of faith. I mean, this is like this is such a persistent cycle that the track record is why people recognize that it's happening. Plus, halving, anytime you decrease supply, that is always going to be a strong pumpamental. The student made Bitcoin to express preference, yada yada. Okay, so the halving is coming up. Here's what you need to know. Right here, this is a table of the halving, the price of the halving, and then the high after the halving, and how much it went up. Now, it's important to recognize that the percent gains have slowed down significantly. And I want to point this out to you. Take a look at how much. So this was the low after the halving, after this halving. So it started out at $12 at the time of the halving. It ultimately peaked out at $1,100. Now the question is, when did it peak out? Historically, that's what we want to know. So this in 2013, the high was $1,127. I want you to pay attention though. It fell back all the way down to 172. The reason this is important is because I want you to protect yourself in this next bull market. I promise you, there are people who thought when this thing hit $1,100, there are people who was thinking, oh, we'll never go back under 1,000, or we'll never go back below 800. Maybe some said we'll never go below $500 again. We're already at 1100. But of course, they went all the way down to 172. That is a significant drop. In 2017, at the time of the halving, they were back to 641. And of course, it pumped all the way to 19,000. I was here for this. I promise you, people were like, oh, we'll never go back below 15,000, or we'll never go back below 10,000. That's never, ever going to happen. And look, they went all the way back down to 3,000. So, and we'll talk about when I think the price is going to pump in this cycle, but I just want you to pay attention to these market moves, because I promise you, in this next pump, people are going to be saying, oh, we'll never drop that much. We'll never drop that much. And I promise you, based on history and these cycles, we will most likely drop significantly off the all-time highs. People are saying this one's different because Bitcoin ETFs are here. It's going to stabilize price. Great. We're down 12% in the past week. Yesterday, we were almost down 10%. So just yesterday alone. So that doesn't sound like the ETFs have solved volatility just yet. I think market maturity is solving the volatility. We can see that long before the ETF showed up here because the price didn't pump so hard. But we were seeing significant drops. So last cycle, we went all the way to 69,000. The low ended up coming down to 15,000. And listen, I was here. People said on YouTube, we will not drop below 50,000. Mark my words, we will not go. This is a mature market. Volatility's out of the market. We will never drop below 50,000. I promise you, people said that. Then people were like, we'll never go below 30,000. People, and then I heard one guy say, we'll never hit 20,000. Anybody who thinks you go below 20,000, subscribe from them. They're idiots. They don't know what they're talking about. There was a YouTuber who said that. I don't think he was serious. I think he was clickbaiting his audience a little bit. I think he was talking to the choir, and people were all excited about the price. I think he was smart enough to know we were going to drop below 20,000, and we did. And in all fairness, I was wrong about this low. I actually thought we would hit 10,000. I genuinely, because I thought it was possible we could actually go even lower to 6,000, 7,000. That would have been about 90% drop. But we went down to 15,000. If you were buying here and people were buying here, how else could the price have gotten here? You got burned. You got burned. Some of you may have bought here and you're still holding, but listen, it's okay because the prices went back up. We've already hit new all-time highs. This is the first time that we've hit an all-time high like this that was higher than the previous cycle, but was before the Bitcoin halving. Now, this all-time hit because of the Bitcoin ETFs. So it is very likely we're going to see a dump, a significant dump from that high. I mean, we're down already, but it may go even lower potentially. That's a risk. I was saying, those of you just the past couple weeks you've been on my channel, I've been saying take profits when we're at the peak of the market. Take profits, take profits. And you want to take profits before everybody else starts taking profits. You have to be willing to take profits when other people aren't. So here's the thing. And the price has already pulled back a little bit. Historically, the past 3 cycles, we had this cycle here. After the halving, we saw the price drop significantly. After the halving happened, at the time of the halving, we saw the price drop significantly. I think it was 53%. We saw the price drop. And then after this cycle, I think we saw the price drop. I think it was 20-something%. So it wasn't crazy. And this cycle, in 2021, we did not see a drop. This at 8,600 here, the price basically moved up to 69,000. Now, that being said, if we didn't have the Bitcoin ETFs, I would have thought, it's possible we're not going to have much of a dip. A 20% dip in crypto is nothing. It just is. It's nothing. So 53% was a big dip after the halving. 20% is really nothing in crypto. We didn't really see a dip at all here. So I would think, hey, maybe we're not going to see a dip. However, this is a significant pump and is quite early. Buy the rumors, sell the news. Because there is ETF money in here, we may see people taking profits. We may see people sell the news at the time of the halving. So we could potentially see a significant dip, significant being over 20%. And that's just because it depends on where we're going to be at the time of the halving. Right now we're at 67,000. If the market continues to pull back between now and the halving, I would tend to think that dip isn't going to be so strong. But it is possible we could dip, so just be aware of that. I'm not telling you to buy. I'm not telling you to sell. Don't follow me for financial advice. I'm a very biased cryptocurrency YouTuber. But just looking at the market cycles, recognizing that this is an anomaly right now, this has never happened before. And because of this, people are saying, oh, this bull market's not going to happen, etc. I think that's crazy because that's not much of a pump from 69,000. It's not much at all. I think we're going to see, in my mind, we're going to see, closer to 600-700% at least from the 15,000. So we're going to go up significantly more, maybe 10x above that. That's what I'm thinking we're going to see. And that would be roughly half of what we had in the last cycle. So at least we're a good 10x, I think, is where we're headed. We'll have to wait and see. So with that being said, these pullbacks may be good times to DC. If you're DCAing, dollar cost averaging, or if you're earning passive income in crypto, which I'm not talking about my investments that much in this video. I've been doing that in just about every video, and I can continue to do that, but I don't want to bore you guys with what I've got going on. But in my case, I'm earning passive income. This month, I'll probably over $3,000 or $4,000 that I've earned in passive income with cryptocurrency. Maybe more, depending on what happens. But in that case, I will be typically, if I'm going to dollar cost average, it's going to be with that passive income. So I'm going to allocate when the price of Bitcoin is down, Ethereum is down, I'm going to be putting more focus towards buying once we're off those all-time highs. And it's not enormous buys. It's just sort of a small periodic buy, dollar cost average, dollar cost average. You just want to be aware of that. All right, let's see what we have so far. And then I'll talk about when I think the pump's going to happen, because I believe there's a pump coming, and I think that it's not going to be immediately after the halving. That's my guess. I would say we're 60-70% likely to get a dip after the halving, and it's only because so much ETF money caused an early pump, and ETF investors, many of them buy into the idea of buy the rumor, sell the news. And historically, I saw a tweet about this. Historically, when ETFs are created on assets, historically, that is when it is after an asset has already had its biggest run. In other words, ETFs are usually late to the party. Because of that, some mainstream financial morons who don't know anything about crypto are predicting that we will not have a bull market after this happening. They're saying the 73,000 was already the bull market. And they're saying because, and they're basing it off the track record that ETFs typically, in their viewpoint, essentially always come late to the party, and the party's pretty much fizzled out by the time the ETF gets there. I don't necessarily think that's the case. It's crypto. We have a long way to go, like Brian Armstrong said. We have a long way to go before crypto's use cases are actually used and this is mass adopted. My personal opinion. Oh, by the way, I should probably say this. Let me get this out of the way before I start talking about the when I think the pump's going to happen and why. So just an FYI, there will be no live stream tomorrow. I'm traveling tomorrow. I'll be in the state of Texas. I actually do work with 2 different companies down in Texas. This is a land development company I'm working with down there. And I will be there, I think, until Tuesday. So that means live stream won't happen until next week on probably Wednesday. I'll update the community section. Also, those of you in my Telegram, I'll update there as well. However, then I'm only going to have a couple live streams because then I'll be traveling to Florida with my wife and kids for some stuff that my family has to do down in Florida. So with that being said, it's crazy. And believe it or not, when I come back in another couple of weeks, I'll be back in Texas doing work with another company. So ladies and gentlemen, if you've ever wondered why I've never live streamed, it's because I travel often. I enjoy it. I love my life. I like that I get to travel, so I don't complain about it at all. But it does make being consistent on YouTube very, very difficult. So just giving you a heads up there. All right, so when do I think we're going to see the next pump? About 520 days. Historically, if you look at the averages, after the halving, the peak comes at about 553 days. Let's see, I might have said it in this article here. Right here it is. They're saying about 535 days. So I put 520 mainly because I want to be aware of the peak. I always put 500 days in. So the halvening is going to happen most likely on the, where's it at? I got it. There it is. On April 20th. So 520 days from April 20th, 2024 ends up being September 22nd, 2025. So that's so sometime in September, October, historically is when we should see all-time highs, provided this cycle works like previous cycles. Again, ladies and gentlemen, there's no guarantee that's going to happen, but we're just looking at past data, and it's a long-term cycle. And if you know anything about technical analysis, long-term technical analysis tends to work out a little bit more consistently than the short-term, technical analysis. So I believe it's likely at least after 400 days, 400 to 600 days. If I had to give kind of a wide margin, another thing that you can just pay attention to as price continues to go up is just watch the fear and greed index. I love this index a lot, and it's just for me, it's just confirmation. When I see we're deep into green, I'm like, okay, sooner or later the price is going to pull back. This thing always reverts back to the mean, to the average. Keep that in mind. So again, if we get over here, we start getting in this red, this orange, I definitely like to buy in those time periods. That means lots of people are selling, price is dropping. This is a lagging indicator, just so you know, meaning price can drop significantly. Look, we dropped 10% in a day. We're down 12% for the week, and this thing has moved from 90s to 70s. So if we continue to have red days, you would see this continue to go down. It's a lagging indicator, but when we get deep in the red and the orange, that's when I'm seriously buying. That's when I'm buying. You want to do the opposite of everybody else. Everybody else buys at the top, they sell the lows. We want to buy the lows. We want to buy when everyone else is selling. That's why the price is low. We want to buy when people's like, why are you buying right now? Why are you buying? Crypto's going down. Of course it's going down because everybody's selling. That's exactly why I'm buying. Average investors lose money. So you have to hedge your weaknesses. So you create rules for yourself to help hedge your human psychology. You say, nope, when this fear and greed index is down in the orange and the red, no matter what, I'm buying a little bit more. I mean, that is if you believe in crypto, right? So just be aware of that. But I think the 500 time frame, I'm actually going to set kind of a timer on my phone just as a reminder of that 500, probably about 500 days out from April 20th. And I may actually find some sort of a countdown timer that I can reference myself just to sort of keep me online, reference it online, just to sort of keep me aware that there is, the typical time period, because we're going to eventually move into a bull market. And of course, people always think the bull market lasts forever. People always think that. Here's what's crazy. The average bear market after the halving comes in a little over 1,000, like 900 to 1,000 days. Let's see if it says it here. I don't know if I see it. It's about 1,000, maybe 1,100 days. So that's going to happen as well. There's going to be another bear market. Historically, listen, you can't come here and say, okay, I can buy into these moves. I hear what you're saying, Wealth. I get it. But I don't think the next bear market is going to be so bad. You cannot both expect to have an incredible bull market because the ETF is here, and then say, oh, but because the ETF, we're not going to have a bad bear market. That does not, like, you can't have it either or. I think the bull market is not going to go up 21x. That's my guess. We're probably not going to do a 21x. However, I also don't think we're going to drop as much in the next bear market. This is a 70, 80% drop? Maybe we only see a 50% drop, 60% drop. But we will have a drop. I promise we'll have a significant drop. Right now, the primary reason people use crypto is most people are not buying it to hodl it as a form of gold. Which, by the way, did you see Michael Saylor's? Oh, I didn't bring that up. MicroStrategy bought more Bitcoin yesterday. Crazy. Their average price, I think they have 100 and something Bitcoin. 100 and something thousand Bitcoin as a company, not Michael Saylor's himself, the company MicroStrategy. That's freaking nuts. They are making either the biggest bet of our lifetime of any private organization on crypto for sure, but almost the biggest bet, period. Or if we're all proven wrong, they are going to get crushed, no question about it. All right. So I think we need to be watching for September of next year. I think next year, getting through the end of this year, moving into first quarter of 2025, I believe and I hope that we start seeing some very, very, very good days ahead. So just keep that in mind when you dollar cost average. Be aware of that. Be aware of past market cycles, ladies and gentlemen. If you have any questions or comments, put them down in the comment section. I'll take a look at them. Thank you so much for being here. There's 8 of you watching now. It says, that's what it says. So do me a favor and smash that like button. By the way, again, just a reminder, there will be no live stream tomorrow. Live streams will resume next week. I believe it's Tuesday or Wednesday morning. I have to check. I cannot remember exactly when my flight gets back in, but it's a privilege to be on this journey with you, ladies and gentlemen. It is incredible what we get to be a part of and what we get to do. I mean, I literally only have one real life buddy that I actually talk that's into DeFi. I have one or two that own crypto that I've helped them buy crypto, but I only have like one person that is really into DeFi, understands Pulse Chain, understands layer ones, layer twos. And, you know, he and I tell each other often, it's like, you know, we're so fortunate to be here in crypto. I mean, it's unbelievable. The passive income opportunities alone here are incredible. When you talk about being able to earn 30% APRs, a stable 30% APR, not APY, APR, meaning it's more than that when you compound it. Being able to earn 70%, 100+% APR in stable coins. You can only do that in cryptocurrency, ladies and gentlemen. Where else can you do? We live in extraordinary times. We are fortunate to be here. We are still early in my very biased opinion. The rest of the world has not even woken up to know what we actually know. But we have to seize the opportunity now. We have to take advantage of it now in a very smart way, because we will not always have these opportunities. By the time mass adoption truly hits, and we're not there yet, but it's coming on strong. We have more companies, more countries that are starting to purchase Bitcoin as a potential hedge. We have 3 or 4 countries now that have come out on record. These are the only ones that have come out on record and said that they're holding a percentage of their country's reserves in Bitcoin. We have MicroStrategy, we have Tesla that are all holding Bitcoin in reserves as an offset to the US dollar, as an alternative to the US dollar and or to gold. So back in 2017, we could not have imagined this. But that's where we're at today, ladies and gentlemen. It is incredible, and I'm honored to be on this journey with you. Thank you so much for being here. Do me a favor and smash that like button before you leave. Let's make it a phenomenal day. Decentralized cryptocurrency equals freedom. This is Crypto Wealth. I'm out.